Last evening I made a video called Untenable, Matt Hancock Will Be Fired or Leave. That was scheduled for 10:45 this morning. Well, that video's already redundant, because the reason he's going to be sacked or fired is nothing to do with his incredible inability to communicate during interviews on the TV, not because in losing his temper with Kay Hurley-Burley this week, not because he's as awkward as, well, the most awkward thing you've ever seen interviewed on any TV program ever with those rolling eyes. But at 1 a.m. this morning, there was breaking news that he likes a bit of the old WHD, wandering hand disease in the corridors of Parliament with a young lady called Gina. Well, apparently, he's been in the red zone, and now he's having to quarantine in hotel rooms for, well, 5 or 10 nights. There's no Lenny Henry at the Premier Inn, no, just Gina, who he likes to grip and grin. Yes, he's a bit friendly with the old hands, and he does have a wife. I mean, she's, well, she's ginger, put it that way. She won't be very happy with this story, but this now means that Mr. Hancock is not to be trusted, because this is a real insight into his character as a married man. I wish him well in his new career. I'll now play you the video I made last night before this revelation about his WHD, wandering hand disease, and I'll tell you why I think he should be fired for his politics, but that's all irrelevant. He should now be fired because he's a cheating scumbag. Howdy, Chunky, it's Friday live across the world, and I think it's curtains for Hancock. Yes, Mr. Matt has had his day. When you're seeing the word sleaze and backhand deals and incompetence, and of course Boris, who's never seen with the man, it's as if he doesn't like him. It's as if they have nothing in common, and he thinks he's a bit awkward. The man who does interviews, Mr. Hancock, and his eyes are wandering around the top of his head as if he's counting sheep whilst trying to stay awake and think of his next line. He's one of those BBC management type who says things like, "Here's what I'd like to say," which buys you 4 seconds to think of a lie, doesn't it? The problem with people like him is he's Teflon. Nothing can get to him. He had car crash interviews yesterday, even Kay Hurley-Burley making him look bad when simply asked why he'd cancelled a date in his diary. "I don't talk about management of my diary issues." And you say to yourself, who in real life says the phrase management diary issues? At this point, I think we can all conclude it's time he went. There's too much gone on, from the pub landlord to sleaze to his inability to look a camera straight in the face. I think we need a health minister who can link a sentence and not make my skin crawl.
The meeting postponed.
Well, what I'm telling you, Kay, is I'm absolutely not going to get into diary management issues. What I'm going to tell you about is the commitments that we have to
Given
deliver.
how important it is, when's it been rescheduled for?
Well, you wouldn't possibly expect me to
I
answer
would. That's why I'm
questions
asking
about
you.
private meetings, and I'm not going to. But what I am going to do is deliver the reform of social care that people want to see. Naturally, we had to delay this work because of the pandemic.
Why not? You said it's long overdue. Why are you not telling us when the meetings are going to be, when you're going to discuss with the Prime Minister and the Chancellor of the Exchequer, when something that was promised 2 years ago, a meeting has been postponed? You can't tell us when it's been rescheduled for. Meantime, something like, I think I'm right in saying, 18,000 pensioners a week are finding themselves in a position where they're being moved from hospital to social care, and they don't know whether they're going to lose their houses because the Prime Minister's not delivered on his promise of dealing with social care.
Well, I don't know where to start with the total rubbish in that question, Kay. Firstly, I'm absolutely not going to get into diary management. I talk to the Prime Minister every single day.
Much is sending me for a Friday, and as we go into the weekend, I think any day now you're going to see the departure of Mr. Hancock. Now, I'm never normally wrong. As you know, my pseudonym is Alex Xavier Obadiah, Soothsayer Belfield. And it seems like I have premonitions that end up becoming true before other people see it. You can feel the tide turning, you can feel that the faith is gone, and I can see that this government needs a fall guy. This government needs somebody to blame for all the hapless and hopeless goings on that have led to more contradictions like UEFA coming in and not quarantining when we have to. Double standards that are going to cost this country dear, double standards that will lose the faith of a nation that I'm telling you will cause a huge backlash and great embarrassment to this government. The faith and the patience of the nation, I think, is gone. The fatigue is louder and more screaming than ever, and people are now pissed off with the double standards. When you see one rule for them and one rule for us, you know it's game over. But we know from the very beginning that there's been shenanigans afoot. I don't know what's going on, why they want to bleed into your phone to put emergency signals. I don't know why they want to facially recognise us no matter where we go. And I don't know what their insistence on tracking us with cards when we pay for anything anywhere and getting rid of cash is about. But it does feel oppressive now, doesn't it? But from the very beginning of all of this, shenanigans were afoot. We know that deals were done that shouldn't have been done, whether it was ladies in the Lords or indeed Matt Hancock's friend in the pub who he didn't know, but he did exchange WhatsApp messages with. You know, deals have been done that have made very rich people millionaires. And indeed, in my belief, some millionaires billionaires. That's how much money has been spent. The amounts of money that have been given simply for handing over something that they didn't even touch is incredible. And that's one of the big scandals of this. If the death of too many people isn't enough to make your teeth itch, if the fact that we have had more contradictions about testing that at this point simply make no sense, for example, the mass testing in Liverpool, never been mentioned since, never been done since, and had 60% failure rate, if that's not enough to get your tits tingling, then I wonder whether this is the misuse of public money, which is something that, as you know, I fought for months and have fought for years in the national press. Public money is precious, and to think that people have profited, especially those who know people like Matt Hancock or Boris Johnson, or indeed Rishi Washi, who apparently bought himself a swimming pool, apparently, during the old Kung Flu. Yeah, I mean, listen,